Hello and welcome to the Melanated Veteran. I'm your host, Miss Kamisha, and before we begin, the first order of business is to always share, like, and subscribe to the Melanated Veteran on Facebook, Instagram, or IG. We're on almost all major platforms: iTunes, Google Play, iHeart, Stitcher, and obviously YouTube, and many more. Don't forget to check out our website at www.themelanatedveteran.com. So today, my guest she's the owner of Legacy Credit Consulting, and she's also an author. Please welcome Anita, Legacy Blue.
Hello, hello. How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for doing this. Like, seeing that you were an author of a veteran, and then you're helping people with credits too. I said, okay, yeah, she'd be definitely a good fit. So,
Thank
again.
you. Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay, so let's start off. So, what branch were you in, and how long?
Hey, I am a 34-year Air Force veteran. 34 years now. Straight, continuous, no breaking service.
Okay, all right. Both my parents, they were Air Force, so.
You know, it's the best for us. It's the best for us, so, we spoiled too, so that's
Yeah,
that
a little
get a little
spoiled.
spoiled.
A little spoiled.
hmm
So, what made you go into the Air Force?
Well, you know what? To be honest with you, I actually joined the military because I wanted a car. I come from a family, you see my mother, the eldest of four kids, and she wasn't going to be able to do that for me. And, I just didn't feel like I had any other option. I just said, hey, what could I do? And so, went down to take the test. And fortunate enough, I was able to pass it. It was the Air National Guard. But, in the later years, I became full-time Air Force, so that's how I was able to, retire from it.
Mm.
But that was it. I wanted to buy a car. That was my goal. I joined, and I was able to get my first car. I purchased myself cash. I was excited about that, and, that was my goal reached. And from that decision, which was one of the best decisions of my life, I made 34 years. That's just insane, right?
Okay. Wow. So, what was your first thought once you signed the dotted line and you get to boot camp? What were you thinking?
What have I done? Is the car worth it? Can I go back home? Right? Yeah, it was a good experience. Like all of veterans have had that experience. It's just basically what have I done? Can I go back home? But without doing it, I ended up really starting my first kind of leadership to a degree in the military. I was actually became a squad leader in basic. So it just kind of went from there for me. But it was definitely an experience. I'll never forget. Right? It's very emotional. It's like, what have I done? Can I call my mama? And he's like, no.
Right?
hmm
And things have
Yeah.
changed. Things have changed now. Like, especially I know, because from being in the Navy, like when I was in, same thing. We didn't talk to the family. Like, once we got there, you get that phone call, and then you might not hear from them for at least 2 more weeks, close to even
Right.
3. But now things are so different. I believe some of them now are able to have cell phones, and I'm like, this new Navy, this new military, like, I don't know,
Yeah. Spoiled even worse. Spoiled
right?
even worse. Right.
So,
Yeah. Yeah,
oh,
I heard they have the cell phones too. Yeah.
it's just, ugh. So, so
Yeah.
you get out of boot camp, you go to your new command. What were some highs and lows of your military career?
Well, the high for me the highest was making the highest, the rank that I, retired at. Like I said, I came in just to buy a car. I never would have thought I would have stayed as long as I did and, make it through the ranks like I did. It was a struggle. I won't say it's real, but the highest thing for me was being promoted to E8, Senior Master Sergeant in the Air Force. And some of the things I experienced, I've experienced, racism in the military, right? And I can't say it's the military's fault. It's just people, ran across people who weren't the best people. And so that was kind of, discouraging at point that the way people can treat other people, they're in this organization and we might have to, live or die for each other. And you already don't like me, and we trying to fight a whole other enemy, right? So it's just that's kind of discouraging because I ended up working in diversity and inclusion HR, military equal opportunity. So I did a lot with trying to talk to people about those types of situations of having those feelings and trying to understand each other. So for me, that'd probably be the lowest rank, just to have to know that, to have to experience something like that in inside the armed forces. And I can't say it's like the military at all. I'm not saying that. I'm saying people that come in with those type of mindsets. That's pretty discouraging.
Okay. Yeah. So, what were some of the highs?
Well, highs is, I was able to attain the rank of E8, Senior Master Sergeant in the Air Force. So I never would have, came in thinking that way, that I would get that high in the rank. So that was very, very, encouraging for me. Some of the travel that I got to do, was good too. So, I was able to get my degree. So I, had several things, and, didn't pay for that. That was free, right? Does it make sense? So those types of things, you have to really look back and be thankful and grateful for. So for me, that was a high to be able to do those things.
Okay. That's great. Like, that's one thing, like, especially travel, like the traveling and meeting the new people. And to me, like, people don't really understand that haven't been in the military. They don't understand, like, the camaraderie. They don't understand, like, that you're out there, you're able to travel, see the world, and then you can get your degree. They'll pay for your degree. I mean, hello.
Yeah.
So
I'll speak on that right quick if you don't mind.
Yeah.
I was on a podcast with another Navy veteran. He had a podcast. Pretty young. He's living in Houston, Texas now. His name is Marcus Bowers, one of the founders of Chiefs That Here. He had his podcast just to talk to veterans, kind of like what you're doing. So I appreciate so much what you're doing. I want to definitely say congratulations and keep doing this good work just to get out here and get our stories out. But he had me on there and we talked a lot about why some of us don't go in the military, right? Because of the fear that comes from our parents. And just being honest, nothing against them, but the knowledge that they don't really know, right? They know what they hear on the news, and so some of those times they're discouraging to some people to go in. Does it make sense? And so I think what you're saying and I'm saying, like, hey, it's a good thing. I got my degree. I got to travel. I got to make a long life, relationship. So, like, that's a good thing, but some parents don't look at it that way. They look at it like in harm's way. I don't want anything to happen to you. And it kind of, hold some of us back because they stay home because our parents couldn't join, right? So I think I would definitely want to say out loud to anybody, might be just listening and not in the military, that you do have opportunities here. I mean, you have to come into a system and understand and learn the system, but you can't definitely move inside of it. Like, just by being very nice to people, right? Always being a people person and being able to, take it to the next level for yourself, right? So that's just, I just want to put a tidbit in there. As we were talking about, the benefits of it, I think we need to definitely hop on or just mention that, some people don't allow their kids to go in because they maybe not understand everything that goes along with that is good and positive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad that you did pick that up and remind us that. So you've done your 34 years. You're out. What
Yeah.
got you started working with doing legacy credit consulting?
Well, I wasn't very smart about it, to be honest with you. I'm a little seasoned lady right now. And, I always thought growing up, hey, I'm not going to get any credit cards. I don't want no checks. I don't want any of that stuff. But in reality, we really need that stuff
Mm.
because everything is based on your character and your credit. Credit is really character. People don't want to hear it, but it's your character. Sometimes we get in bad situations, that's understandable, right? But being educated enough to know, hey, I got in a bad situation, how do I get out of it related to credit? We didn't know how to do that. And
Mm.
so I ran across, someone who was willing to educate me on it. And I said, hey, if you're going to teach me, I want to teach others. So part of what I do is trying to help you increase or restore your credit score. But I want to educate you on what it means. So once the score is where you like it, you can keep it. Because a lot of times people go to get credit restored and nobody teaches them anything. So you're going to be right back because you don't know what you're doing. Because
Mm.
it's a delicate balance to be able to move within credit. It's very fluid. One thing you do could drop it and you didn't even know what you did, right? Because of the lack of
Exactly.
education to it. So I felt it was very important to be educated on it myself and help others become educated. Plus I have grandkids, I have, kids. Hey, I can teach them because my mother didn't know, her mother didn't know, so kids I didn't know. So now I'm trying to change that up as far as the next generation from me at least, that I can educate and you know about credit, how to move inside of it. And you do need one or two credit cards, right? If I don't have any credit cards, I'm not building anything, so there's nothing to judge me on. You have to have credit in order, some kind of credit reporting positively for you to be able to have it. And some people have zero, their credit invisible, they call it, because they're not using any kind of credit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important just to be educated in the realm. That's what I feel. So that's what made me started with it, and so I'm excited. Helping some people. You're amazed somebody, the score changes with the first little few points. Oh, something happened, and then it goes up even more, and they're able to buy their house, dream car, dream house. Just have that interest rate. So that's really what I got into it for.
Mm. I like that. Cause like your mother, your grandmother, I wasn't really taught either much about when it comes to
Mhm.
credit, and so
Mhm.
people don't realize, like you said, people don't realize you have to have credit to get credit, and sometimes people are
Mhm.
like, well, I can't get credit. This is my first car. Like some people are like, well, because you're still new,
Right.
um, you can't. Some people can't get credit, but I like that you're trying to educate people on them, and especially the younger generation, like you said, because there's a lot out there, and we're like, wait a minute, huh?
Right. Absolutely. So one tip I'll tell you too, what parents can do is add their kids as authorized users on their card, right?
Mm.
That's going to help them start establishing credit as they're younger. You can do this young as I think 12 to 14. You can still have your kid onto your credit card if you have good credit. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you have good credit. You're trying to help them establish credit. By the time they get old enough, want to purchase a car, they'll have a credit score, right? So you just
Oh.
have to do that for them. So the card's in their name. They use the card. They pay on time. They keep the utilization down, right? They don't do anything bad with it. Then
Mm.
they can start establishing and have a positive credit history by the time they're older. So that's just one tip. Right there, as your teenagers as authorized users, and they need to be educated on how to use the card. You got to pay on time, and you can't charge more than 30% of whatever their limit is.
Gems. Those are some gems right there.
Yeah,
Like,
I'm trying to
cause
tell you.
I would
That'll
honestly,
save a bunch of people if they just did that.
right?
For real.
Hey,
Mhm.
listen. Hey, children, you like listen.
Right.
Put him as an
Mhm.
authorized user. Like
Mhm.
I'm telling you, some like I said, there's stuff I wish that they would have told me. I would have been taught at this age, like at a younger age. But
Right.
I'm I'm thankful that you're doing that. For people, you're educating them. So
Right.
so you're doing your the legacy, the credit consulting. First off, I like the
Mhm.
name. Um,
Mhm.
what? How did you come up with the name?
You know what? I've been kind of putting this in my world, in my realm, and manifesting this for myself that I want to leave a legacy. I want something to be left behind, that people can remember me by in a positive way. And so, my Facebook, my Instagram, all of, my things have legacy in it because that's what I'm trying to leave behind. So, for part of doing the book was something that'll be here forever, right? So, for me, it was just something positive to say, if you heard of Anita Legacy Bloom, what was she about? Somebody can have something nice to say about me and what I was trying to do while I was here in the world. So that's why I kind of came up with legacy. I like it, I want to leave something like this. So let me just start saying it about myself, right? And so that's basically how I did that. That's probably been at least 4 to 5, maybe 6 years, 2012 probably. So 8 years, almost 9, that I started using the word legacy as a part of, my identity or, something that you can, hear the name, who I am.
Right. Better trademark it. Trademark it.
I know.
I love it.
No, right about that. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
I love it. So you've got this consulting business, and now you've written a book, which the book is amazing, by the way. Tell everybody a little bit about the book, how that came about.
Well, it was a part of what I've always wanted to do, kind of on the bucket list. Hey, I want to write a book, right? And I said that a while back. I already had the name, the title of the chapter there. That's what I came up with. And just scrolling on Instagram, and I ran across something else, which led to something else. So I kind of knew, that it was destiny that I do it, because I didn't go straight to a publisher and say, hey, I want to do this. I kind of found it in a roundabout way. A company that was helping, co-author your book, and I take you through the steps, the actual blueprint of how to get your book out there and to become a #1 bestseller, which I am in the category that my book was released in. So I just followed that system, and I just wanted to have something, like a part of the legacy to leave. And I said, well, okay, I can do this. And right before I got out, and I retired, I had my retired kind of gathering on a Friday. Released a book the same Friday, but I was leading up to it, right? I was leaving breadcrumbs, on my Facebook and Instagram. Hey, this is coming out. Hey, get ready. Hey, it's launching tomorrow. Hey, it's lunch. I did a video. So and that's what they taught us to do, right? And so by doing that and having some support, I was able to have a #1 bestseller. So I came in with the book. I always wanted to do it. And then I ran across, I got into a system, like the military. I kind of found my way to someone. I was led there, and I had an interview to get it, with that publishing company called Success Publishing, and I was able to start writing and submit everything, and it took me through everything from my cover and everything. So it's very exciting. I'm glad about it. It's doing well, and I'm happy you got a chance to read it and had, a good review. You can put that on Amazon.
Well, we'll do.
It was good. So I can get some reviews out there. But thank you so much. That's kind of how I got into it. So, but it was quite a good project and a good way to do it. It wasn't super hard. It's just a matter of being in that system, and they did a great job.
Yeah. I like how you have other people there as well as you that are telling their stories of how they succeeded, how
right.
How they dealt with everything. And one thing that I liked about yours was you talked about leadership, and I love that you mentioned the different ways of leadership, different things that people who are leaders need to have. And that made me think that needs to be everywhere. Like, everybody needs to make sure that they know, the different ways to be a successful leader, because not everybody is able to lead, or even, they need that blueprint, on how
Correct.
to lead, because not everybody's a leader.
I understand that, and that's kind of what I was trying to say. This is, of course, my opinion. This is what I aspire to be. This is how I felt I was in leadership. You have the courage, and, when everything's down, or you're the leader, you got to step up and take, that responsibility and be accountable. Have passion about what you're doing, right? And be humble. Hey, I don't have to be in the front. I have a team. They did it. I'm always going, even if I am the leader and I have to make a statement, it's always about the team, what we did. I couldn't do it without them, right? So it's a humbleness to it. You got to be clear. Clarity. In the military, they're always making us try to be clear with feedback and all kinds of things that we have to do. But clarity is very important. And so it's just those things. Commitment, definitely. I couldn't have did it without commitment for 34 years. I couldn't have, And so it's just those things that are more important to me. I felt if somebody was my leader, I would want them to have those type of characteristics. And something big that I say in my book is that, hey, be the leader that you want to see. Right? You want to see how if you see yourself as a leader, you have to be that person. Or you say they're not approachable. Well, you should be approachable, right? So just different things like that I felt as I, went through the military. Those were the things that I, felt were important and, made me a good leader. And, in my eyes, I had a couple of people tell me I was okay, but, So, thank you,
Yeah.
Those are things that were key to me for leadership.
And those are some gems right there. Like everything that you said, you got to be about your people. Like you have to be humble and take responsibility, because in our society now, a lot of the times it's not like, it's like, well, I didn't do it, you did, someone else did it, it wasn't me.
Right.
And so it's like, no, you need to take ownership of if something goes wrong or something goes right. It's both. So absolutely.
Yes, ma'am.
Gems. So what's next for Anita Legacy Blue? What's next for your consulting?
What I'd like to do, is do some motivational speaking, just be a speaker, kind of talk about some of those leadership qualities. For sure, if anybody's interested in, having, income or do that for them, in the school system, the ROTC program, we look at a lot of leadership, even in sometimes, in corporate America, they want somebody to come in, right? So with the credentials that I now have, direction that I love to go, 34-year African veteran, helping people credit. She also, wants to teach, has a #1 best-selling book as an author. So I think God is leading me in, the direction that I want to go. Actually, have you heard of Clubhouse, the app Clubhouse?
Clubhouse? No. I haven't heard of the app.
It is an app. It's an app on the phone, and it's really a huge networking application.
Okay.
You really can just jump on there, but only right now. I'm sorry, only for iPhone users right now. But if you have an iPad or any kind of Apple device, you can still jump on. Okay. And so the platform is beautiful for everybody who was trying to network and learn about things they wouldn't normally be able to be in a room with certain people, like Grant Cardone, like Elon Musk. These guys have come into this platform and this application and had people come in and listen to what they have to say, right? And some people can jump what they call a stage and be on stage and ask questions and interact. And if you're in the audience, you just have to just kind of listen. And so what has happened for me, I've been able to become a moderator on one of those rooms or those clubs. It's called Hello. And so myself and two other moderators, one is actually an African veteran with me, one of my guys who I actually mentored, and another young lady here in Houston. So we have an actual club called Hello Houston, and so I'm doing that in the mornings, moderating. We do that 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if anybody, your listeners might want to think about doing that, you don't have to be in Houston, but if you want to come on and, kind of talk about your business, we definitely welcome you to do that. It's called Hello Houston. So that's kind of what I'm doing now. That's helping me hone, my speaking skills and being able to moderate and maybe be a hostess or something. So that's kind of what I'm looking for in the future, just to kind of keep doing my credit. I also have my real estate license as well. So, just a couple of things I got cooking, and I'm just hoping God will bless all of them, and I can help a lot of people.
Amen. Well, I want to thank you so much for doing this and giving your knowledge. Definitely for people, like she said, Clubhouse for networking, and then Hello Houston. Definitely check those out. Check out Hello Houston. Before we wrap up, can you tell everybody where they can find you?
They can find me on Instagram at Legacy Blue 66. They can also find me on Facebook at Legacy Blue. You might see my name a little bit. There's Anita. But yeah, Legacy Blue is kind of where you can find me on the platform. And Hello Houston, I'm in there for sure in the clubhouse. We have our own club. So yeah, I definitely wouldn't mind connecting with anybody, who wants to connect, talk about business, strategy, lifestyle, kind of what you got going on. If you want to talk about leadership, just hit me up and we can definitely connect.
Okay. All right. So.
And I also want to tell you, ma'am, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Keep doing what you're doing, getting the word out, having veterans come on and tell their story or parts of their story, just to let us know we all out here and we might have something to say and we want to help people. And a lot of times our story does do that. And always my motto is let faith lead you.
Okay. I love it. Thank you. Like for me, it's never been about me. It's all about, the stories. And like, I'm fascinated when I meet new people and find out that they're veterans. I'm like, oh, your story, like you guys got a lot to say. And so I appreciate that. 'Cause it definitely helps me to keep going, knowing that, other people are seeing that veterans are being heard. So that I appreciate.
Yes, ma'am.
So you can find me at the Melanated Veteran on Facebook and IG. And again, don't forget to share, and subscribe on Facebook, IG, and YouTube. And check out www.themelanatedveteran.com. I'm your host, Miss Mesha, signing off, saying embrace what makes you, you.